We sprinted for the car after hearing footsteps in an abandoned military village, and standing beside the back door with one leg already inside was a tall woman in a filthy black dress trying to get in. If stories like this keep you up at night, hit subscribe, because if we'd been 10 seconds later, I have no idea how that night would have ended. This happened back in high school. I'm in my 30s now, so I'll keep names out of it, since the place I'm about to describe is still findable online, and I genuinely don't know if we could still get in trouble for what we did. There used to be an abandoned military base in my hometown, used mainly during World War I and the Cold War, housing over 200 military families at its peak, basically its own small community. Abandoned in 1984, left standing untouched until it was finally torn down in 2014. Growing up, we heard every kind of ghost story imaginable about that place. Demonic cults, secret underground experiments, you name it. It was practically local legend. In middle school, my older brother once burst into my room while I had friends over and swore he'd been there, described a secret door in the church floor beside the altar, said he could hear moaning and screaming from the basement. Scared us plenty at the time, though I'm sure now it was just him messing with us. That story only added fuel to the fire, though. For years, my friends and I talked about exploring it ourselves once we could drive. All through high school, we never actually went, partly because we didn't know the exact location, and partly because, abandoned or not, it was still technically a military base, and we had no idea what kind of trouble we'd be in if caught. Senior year, one cool spring night, my friend Alex told us he finally knew the entrance location, secondhand from someone he knew. I was so sure he was wrong that I basically dared us to go check, certain we'd never actually find it. Around 11 p.m. we made the 15-minute drive out. Alex wasn't confident at all, kept telling me to pull over every few feet thinking he'd spotted it, always wrong. Eventually we found an overgrown road, an old beat-up no trespassing sign nearly swallowed by trees. I got nervous about pushing further since it was my car, but my friends Alex and Nick were fully committed. Getting caught wasn't even on their radar, and they kept circling back to the same argument. We talked about this our whole lives, let's finally do it. They talked me into it. I drove slowly down the dirt road, lights off, letting the car roll. We hit a roadblock gate. No security checkpoint manned, obviously, so I got out and manually lifted it myself. That's when it started getting strange. The next stretch of road was littered with furniture on either side, beds, dressers, tables, all of it. A second gate followed, this time Alex lifting it. Past that final checkpoint, we were in. Surreal doesn't quite cover it. Years of hearing about this place. And there we were. Looked like something out of the Upside Down. First thing I noticed. No cameras anywhere I could see, which eased my nerves a little. The church was covered in graffiti, genuinely creepy. I checked for that trapdoor my brother mentioned years ago. Of course, nothing there. We moved on to the housing units next, and somehow the intact ones felt even creepier than the wrecked ones. Our friend Scott was with us, visibly on edge the whole time, insisting someone was there. Scott was always the nervous type, so we brushed it off. Inside one of the houses, we all froze at once. An unnatural sound, not like a typical house settling, more like wood creaking under someone's weight. I asked if everyone else heard it. They had. Alex shouted out, asking if anyone was there, and it stopped immediately. We debated it for a minute. Alex and Nick chalked it up to an old building making noise. Scott was certain we weren't alone. I told the group I wanted to leave regardless, that uneasy feeling too strong to ignore. Heading toward the door, Scott suddenly jumped back and pointed silently at a window facing the house next door. 3 shadows, clearly head-shaped, moving just outside. We went completely silent. I crept to the window myself and watched the shadows slip out of sight into the backyard. I whispered that we needed to run for the car. Everyone nodded, and we bolted. The second the car came into view, Scott, out in front, screamed. Standing beside the back door of my car was a tall woman in a filthy old black dress, the door already open, one leg halfway into the back seat, clearly about to get in. The scream startled her. She let go of the door and bolted into the church. We kept running, reached the car, and I checked the back seat before we got in, empty thankfully. We drove off as fast as I could manage, nearly losing control on the dirt road at one point from sheer speed. We spent the rest of that night theorizing about who we'd encountered. Most likely someone using the abandoned facility as informal shelter, which explains most of it. Except for why she'd been trying to get into my car specifically. What still unsettles me most is that we walked around for a long stretch without seeing a single person or sign of anyone, right up until the moment we were leaving. Years later, telling the story to my girlfriend, she suggested looking the place up online. That's when I learned it had been demolished in 2014. Growing up, there had been nothing findable about it at all, which only deepened the mystery at the time. I'm just grateful we left when we did, and that Scott happened to scream exactly when he did, 10 seconds later, and I genuinely don't know how that night would have gone. What that night taught me, more than the fear itself, is that curiosity is worth indulging carefully. But the moment your gut says leave, that instinct deserves to win every single time, no matter how close you are to finally getting the answers you've been chasing for years. If you've ever explored somewhere you probably shouldn't have and found something you still can't explain, I'd genuinely love to hear about it. Drop your story in the comments, because some of the best ones I cover started exactly this way.